One of Kanye West's biggest recent hits had something highly unusual about it. It starts with a chant by a group of Italian football ultras, and one particular group actually has writing credits on his recent album. So, what's going on? What is the connection between Kanye West and Italian football fans? It's topped the US Billboard charts with the song Carnival. It was a return to the top of the charts for arguably one of the greatest rappers of all time. After years of controversy that had seen Kanye, now known as Ye, ostracized by the mainstream music industry. It's a long list of transgressions that include upsetting Taylor Swift, cozying up with Donald Trump, and white nationalist activist and media personality Nick Fuentes, and declaring "I like Hitler" during a podcast interview with far-right conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. His anti-Semitic comments in 2022 led to the termination of a highly lucrative merch deal with Adidas over his Yeezy trainers brand. Forbes estimated that the loss of the Adidas deal alone cost Kanye as much as $1.5 billion. And his music deals with Sony and Def Jam were allowed to lapse. And so Kanye went out on his own, returned to music, and emerged with a new album at the start of 2024 called Vultures One. And Carnival, one of the lead tracks, begins with a group of men chanting. The chants were a collaboration between Kanye and a group of Italian ultras, in particular the ultras of Inter Milan, Curva Nord Milano 1969, or CN69 as they sometimes style themselves. In fact, CN69 were given writing credits for both Carnival and another song, Stars. The recently rebranded ultra group are heirs to one of Italy's oldest ultra groups, and also one of the most political, expressing far-right and fascist views for decades alongside their fraternal allies, the ultras of Lazio. Although you can trace the birth of the ultra movement back to Uruguay and Argentina at the very start of the 20th century, and to Hajduk Split in 1950 in Europe, what we understand as modern ultra culture emerged from Italy in the late 1960s. AC Milan's Fossa di Leoni, formed in 1968, is often credited as the first official ultra group. Inter also have a claim thanks to the legendary Argentine coach Helenio Herrera, who arrived in Serie A in 1960. Herrera was a visionary. Such was his quest to eke out any kind of advantage, no matter how small, though he eventually turned to the curva, the Italian word for the stand behind the goal where the cheapest tickets can be found. After a successful spell coaching in Spain, experiencing La Liga's raucous crowds, Herrera wanted to harness the 12th man in the stadium. So, at his urging, Inter's president, Angelo Moratti, invested in forming an organized supporters group called Il Moschettieri, the Musketeers, who would travel to away games and lay the foundations for the ultras that would come. In 1969, Inter's fans formed their first ultra group, Boys SAN, a far-right group who've dominated the San Siro's Curva Nord ever since. Ultra culture flourished in Italy and spread to the rest of the world, and Inter's ultras built a reputation for the finest tifos, loudest chants, and best choreography. It also cultivated a reputation for violence and extreme far-right politics. Inter's ultras had a long-standing friendship with Lazios, based on their shared far-right worldview. When the irreducibile leader, Fabrizio Piscitelli, an unabashed fascist, was executed in a Rome park in 2019, Inter's ultras honored him with a tifo on the Curva Nord. But then an assassination rocked the Inter Curva too. At the end of 2022, one of Inter's most notorious ultra capos, Vittorio Boiocchi, known as the Uncle, was shot dead near his home in a professional hit. News of his death saw Inter ultras clear the Curva Nord during a game against Sampdoria. The violent scenes caused outrage. The result was Inter's ultras subgroups dissolving and rebranding themselves under a single name, Curva Nord Milano 1969. And shortly afterwards, CN69 were suddenly associating with one of the most famous people in the world, Kanye West. Nino Ciccarelli, another of Italy's most notorious ultra capos, who once led Inter's Vikings, posted a video of him in a recording studio with hundreds of other ultras. In October 2023, Kanye had come to Italy with his wife, Bianca Censori. His son wanted to watch a Serie A game. Richard Santoro, one of Kanye's Italian advisors, told the music website Rocket.it that Inter were not playing the weekend he was there, so Kanye's family watched Genoa versus AC Milan instead. Santoro said, after the match, Kanye was really impressed by the passion of the ultras, with the choreography and the smoke bombs. Kanye had been planning to perform at a comeback show at the 100,000 capacity RCF Arena in Reggio Emilia, near Bologna, and wanted the ultras there too. He called me back sometime later. He was still in Italy at Sting's Villa. He said, I really like the idea of the ultras. I'd like you to bring 2,500 fans on stage. In the end, the concert was cancelled, but Kanye didn't forget the ultras and wanted them to perform on his new record. It turned out that two producers working on the record were into fans with connections in the ultra scene. And so a call went in, and within a few days, C969 had gathered 200 ultras. They came to the recording studio on January the 27th, 2024, and recorded 5 tracks, 2 of which ended up on the record, Carnival and Stars. A few weeks later, Kanye saw the Inter-Ultras in action at the San Siro himself. He turned up at the Champions League last 16 match against Atletico Madrid, which Inter won 1-0, dressed all in black with black gloves and a black hood that completely covered his head. After the match, Kanye performed at a concert at Milan's Forum of Assaggio. It had been announced that 500 ultras would take to the stage with him and sing Carnival. But the deal collapsed the day before, and Kanye took to the stage without them, wearing the same black